So recently I published this video with all my art journals. I went through a tour and showed you everything that I've made over the last several years. I got a lot of great comments. Thank you very much for those if you commented. The journals that elicited the most comments were the journal about my grandmother, the one about lace, and the one with the valuable papers. I had invited people to ask any questions that you may have, and I did get some technical questions that I will answer at some point in the future. But one person, Jennifer from Tucson, asked me this question about how do you translate a feeling or a mood into a collage or into an art journal? And this question is perfect timing because I have been thinking about feeling and art just recently. I've been contemplating a lot, what is art and what is the difference between art and craft? Am I creating art or am I creating craft? And the answer it's not really that important. But the reason why I've been thinking about it is because I like to understand the definition of things, and I'm just curious about it in general, the difference between art and craft. So I've been doing research and I came across the work of Leo Tolstoy. In 1897, he wrote this composition called What is Art? Apparently this was a question that he thought about for years and years and years. So here is what Tolstoy said. The activity of art is based on the fact that a person receiving through his sense of hearing or sight of another person's expression of feeling is capable of experiencing the emotion which moved the person who expressed it. And he gives an example of a person who tells a joke. Say that a comedian thinks up of something funny and then shares it with others. And those people think it's funny too. They share that sense of humor. Another example is with music. Say there is a songwriter who writes something, performs it, and then you as the listener hear it and you are able to experience that feeling that the person who's singing the song had originally intended. So, to evoke in oneself a feeling one has once experienced, and having evoked it in oneself then by means of movement, lines, colors, sound, or forms expressed in words, so to transmit that feeling that others may experience the same feeling. This is the activity of art. And this is what I try to do with my art. I feel something, I do something with paper and collage, show it to you so that you in turn feel something too. And you are hopefully, possibly inspired to do that thing as well. So what are those feelings? Those feelings are curiosity, maybe an awareness of the passage of time as demonstrated through vintage papers, perhaps nostalgia, and harmony based on color, based on composition, balance of pieces and how I put them on a page. Those are all things that I want you to feel. So back to Jennifer's question. How do you translate a feeling or a mood into a collage or into an art journal? Let's explore. The first thing you need to do is to identify that feeling. How do you do that? Well, the way I do it is to capture images where I see it. So for example, if I am looking on Instagram or if I am on, any other place where photos are shared, Pinterest or Facebook, whatever. When I find an image that particularly speaks to me, that I want to be reminded of that feeling, or that it has some kind of meaning to me, I save that image. And just right click, save it, put it in a folder somewhere. And what I do with those images is a couple of things. I showed you in the video that I just did about journals that I created this book. It's a photo book from this company, Mixbook, of someone else's art. I was on her website. She does wonderful, beautiful work. This is Mary Green. I was looking particularly for the feeling that is evoked from the art that she does. I couldn't put it into words, I couldn't describe it, but I knew it when I saw it. And so it became important to me to have examples, clear examples of what that kind of art looked like. So I downloaded pictures and then I uploaded them into this, online Mixbook company, and then had them print out this little book for me. That way I can look at it whenever I want to understand and be inspired and get the idea of what I am trying to similarly find in creating my own work. That's one example. Another thing that you can do is there is Shutterfly. You can upload images to them and print out books, but better yet, what they do is they will print out photographs for you. And I believe if you use your mobile phone, the prints are free. You just need to pay for the shipping. So what that looks like is this. I would get 4 inches by 4 inches printed. And these are photos from Instagram of art that I liked, right? And that it's interesting to me. So I got these printed out, a whole bunch of them, and then I created this very simple journal of old book pages and old just pages in general, and then placed my images in here so that I could flip through them and get ideas of the different kinds of art that inspire me or gives me ideas of what it is, that feeling that I'm trying to harness and to include in my own art. Next thing you can do is to gather like images. For example, I have this box right here, and inside are a bunch of examples of a particular kind of style. Right around Halloween comes out these images that are kind of spooky, kind of creepy crawly nature, kind of dark. And the name of this aesthetic is called Dark Academy. I didn't even know that it had a label to it, but it actually does. Things like Harry Potter also have made it very popular. Wednesday Addams, there's a show now on Netflix, The Addams Family, based on that. So it's a very particular kind of aesthetic. And I started to gather these types of images. As I said, around Halloween, they tend to show up. Edgar Allan Poe. Oh, here's a beautiful postcard that someone actually sent me for Halloween. So I wanted to create this collage book, Spells and Potions, and inside just have a bunch of collages based on this. So anyway, if I have an idea of what this look is supposed to be, then of course I can have a little box or something where I am collecting these pieces. This is just a piece of wallpaper. I have some images, nature images, an owl, beautiful text. Oh, postcards. Wow, look. This is this is some hotel, but it looks like it could be a haunted castle. Beautiful handwriting. Here's something from Edgar Allan Poe. Another fabulous old chateau. And you can also get printables and things of that sort, right? And then that way, when I have all these components, I can create a little journal. And I did forget to share this journal in my whole group of journals that I did last week. So these are just some collages that I did with some of these papers, right? I love these color purples and blues. And then there I've got a castle. This green kind of chemistry and science is also interesting in here. Okay, so that's how I am able to gather those things and then transmit that feeling onto these collages. Now, another example, I had shared with you all this junk journal that I made dedicated to my grandmother. How can I do this? How is it possible to take photos and take things and do it in such a way that the memory of this person is transmitted into this project? That's a tough question, and the answer differs probably for everyone. If you have photos, that's probably going to help a lot because you're trying to show who this person is, and a visual interpretation, a visual photo will help a lot. If you have items of theirs, also physical items, that's also very helpful. But what if you have none of those things? Or if you have a photo? Is it possible to create an entire junk journal based on a person? It is. The way you would do that is you would think about all the things that this person liked and enjoyed. What kind of hobbies did they have? What kinds of things did they remark on or appreciate? Did they like particular flowers or a particular type of garden? Or where was the place that they liked to go? You know, did they travel to a certain location and love that location? If you think about this person's life and the things that made them unique or special in your mind, those are the things that you want to highlight in your journal. Sometimes it's enough to gather things that you know this person would have liked. She would have loved this particular kind of jewelry because she loved to wear flowers on her earrings. You know, if you think about those types of details, there's always creative ways that you can incorporate into your journal so that you are reminded of the person that this person was. Here's a good example. I have these cutouts of a dress and a jacket. These came from a catalog, a J. Peterman catalog, not that long ago, but it's in the style of 40s or 50s clothing. And my grandmother was a seamstress who worked in downtown Los Angeles, working for Bullock's or one of the big stores. So this reminds me very much of my grandmother. So in the example of this journal with the lace, the feeling or the mood that I'm trying to transmit is this feeling of nostalgia, is maybe appreciation for all the work that it had to have been done to make this by hand, right? And how do I do that? I have samples, real pieces of lace, and then I have these papers that were from a downloadable printable kit. And this was from Ephemera's Vintage Garden. I will put the link in the description where it came from. So the ability to match something like a printable with pieces of lace is my cornerstone for how I put this journal together. And it's the way that I transmit the feeling to you. Here's one more example. What about the feeling of valuable papers? How do I convey that feeling? So the first thing I did was to brainstorm what would symbolize value. The most obvious way, in my opinion, is money, currency. That's value, right? You could also do things like bank checks, anything to do with commerce or trade. So when I was looking for papers to put in this journal on these pages, that's what I was looking for. They're very obvious symbols of value, but sometimes that's what you want, or at least start with looking for the obvious stuff and then add the maybe not so obvious after that. Any kind of form that needed to be filled out was also a good example, right? And then I also had this printable. Here's another form. Here's a receipt, an image from a hotel, maybe business took place there. Here is a contract, right? Piece of newspaper. I probably have some newspaper also. Oh yes, some stock prices of cotton, for example. And then I had these coins, these paper money coins. One person asked me, how did I put in these pages in here? So this is the envelope, and this was a half of the printable, and it's just taped in here with washi tape. There's not even washi tape on this side. Oh, you know what? Actually, the printable was folded in half, and it looks like the other half is here. So it just goes, it wraps around the entire envelope. But you're able to open it, and that's because I've fastened it, I've adhered it with the washi tape here and here. So that is how this printable page is in here. Okay, and then I made a little pocket, for example, with this printable also. Laws of the territories, so it's more legal work, legal papers there. A certified record, right? And yeah, that's about it. So that's the feeling that is transmitted with those, with the selection of those particular papers. I hope this all makes sense. I hope that it gives you ideas of how you can take images and you can take items, things, and put them into journals to transmit your feelings. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you the next time.